When you filled out the application, it would have brought you to this page, which is obviously where you filled out the appointment. And so the distinct differences here as a sales rep is predominantly a little bit less commission. However, compared to, say, our competitors, is still more than our competitors. Typically, the most that you'll find any of the other brokers or consulting firms out there, the most they pay their top producers is 40%. But the sales rep predominantly only markets to the residential customers, whereas a full-fledged agent is obviously making a lot more and has the ability to work with residential and commercial customers. Now, a little bit about our background and where I come from, being in the business since 1995 as an ESCO company called Energy Pros, and was really back then was taking T12 light bulbs and exchanging those for T8s, and then eventually the T5s came along, and then LED and solar and all of these other things that would help reduce usage along the way. In 2002, when deregulation came about in Texas, we used to take and hand off the electric bill to a broker, and they would lower their rate, and in turn, it would increase the ROI a little bit on the work that we were doing. After a few years of this, realized that we were giving a lot of money away to brokers, and so in 2007 is when TruPowur came about. And in 2014, I remember, being very frustrated with how the industry operates and seeing a Trivago commercial and thinking, why hasn't somebody done something like that for the energy sector? Well, when you're pointing at somebody else, there's usually three fingers pointing back. So if you came in off of a Craigslist ad, at the top of the ad, it would have had a link to our pricing platform, which looks like this page.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the bottom took you to fill out the application, which was on the corporate website. So the distinct difference is the corporate website is at TruPowur.org, and the pricing platform is at TruPowur.com, which is what everybody knows us by. That's where all the magic happens, all the heavy lifting is done. So unless somebody clicks contact us, then it'll take them to the corporate website. So other than that, distinct differences between us and competitors, being other brokers and consulting firms, is they typically are isolated to their township, county, or state. Very, very few will you ever find actually market to the entire deregulated market across the United States. Here you will see that we actually market to all the deregulated states noted here. For electricity is our primary target. For electricity and natural gas are the blue states. Our secondary market being the green states that are only deregulated in natural gas alone. Now here in the next, sometime before Christmas, hopefully, we will also be adding all of Canada, both Ontario and Alberta. So that's going to open up that window. And then we're also in some negotiation for some territories in the UK. So that's going to obviously open up some new time periods where we can market to other people in different time zones. So that's going to be a huge, huge help. Now, one of the things that you'll also note about the competitors out there is they typically have a relationship with, say, 5 or 10 different REPs. An REP is a retail energy provider, which each one of these are. And the reason for that is the same reason that we had very few REPs under our belt, because as a broker or a consulting firm, every relationship that you have with an REP, number one, if you don't use it, you lose it. And it has its physical challenges because every day we receive what is called a matrix sheet. And that matrix sheet is just a term for spreadsheet. And on that spreadsheet, there can be several dozen to several hundred different variables based on whether it's residential, small business, commercial, different pricing structures for different usage amounts, different contract lengths and terms. And so you can imagine if you are meeting with a customer and go back to the office and you spend the next hour or two going through 5 or 10 different REP matrix sheets to try and figure out which is going to be the best deal for your customer, and you don't close that customer, well, tomorrow you're going to have a whole new set of matrix sheets to go through. And actually, some suppliers actually send those matrix twice a day. So most of your competitors fall into one of two categories. One, they have that one go-to company that they pick up the phone, they get a rate, and that's what they go with, which now is pigeonholed them back into one pricing structure. Or two, which most of them do, and we did, quite frankly, for a long time, and that was you would mark up the rate high enough so that it would absorb all the day-to-day changes in the matrix throughout the week or 2 weeks, some of them even for a month, so that they didn't have to go back through and spend a lot of time digging in the matrix. So now you've literally have marked yourself up very competitive. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so that makes it very challenging outside of the fact that most of your brokerage firms out there, the competitors, typically only do residential or they only do commercial. They typically don't do both. And then lastly, if you were to actually work with one of these REPs, they typically only want you to deal with customers that have an expiration date of within 90 days. So as long as their current contract expires within 90 days, then that is a palatable customer for you to approach. Given if you were working for a competitor, that window of opportunity opens up quite a bit to a year. So as long as that customer's contract expires within a year or less, then they're fair game. We do a large enough volume that we can actually deal with any customer whose expiration is within 2 years or less. So that gives us a huge advantage. And because of our unique platform and our ability to absolutely use all of our suppliers, we currently have about 10 times the number of suppliers as any other broker or consulting firm in America. Currently, we have 96 suppliers that we deal with nationwide and growing. There's only really about 115 nationwide. So we've got a pretty good lion's share of it.
Okay.
So what I want to do right now is jump over to the pricing platform, which is at TruPowur.com. And of course, if you come on as an agent, a couple of the things that we do outside of giving you your own TruPowur email address is that we give you your own unique URL and promo code that you can use. So if you're driving traffic to the website via a link in your email or social media, you want to make sure that that goes into your pipeline, as well as usage of the promo code. So let's say if your promo code was 808, you could simply tell a customer, go to TruPowur.com, put in my promo code. That'll ensure you get all of the discounts. Actually, all it does is make sure that it goes into your pipeline.
Right.
If a customer puts in the promo code, comes in, does a look around, but doesn't move on anything and clicks away and doesn't come back for another month or 6 months or a year, they don't remember the promo code, not a problem. Our system is going to recognize their IP address and funnel it back into your pipeline anyway.
Beautiful.
So from here, from the front of the platform, obviously you can see we do residential, small business, commercial, natural gas, and electricity. To simplify it, we used to allow agents to do both residential and commercial from the back office, which led to some challenges because every once in a while somebody would accidentally put commercial pricing on residential customers, and that's not a good thing.
Okay.
So what we did to eliminate that was just to remove residential from the back office. So when we do our residential business, we'll do it through the front of the platform, and we'll do our commercial through the back of the platform. So real simply, if we take and enter, let's look at a Chicago, Illinois zip code. And this is true whether a customer is doing this or you're doing it on behalf of the customer. You just put in the zip code, click Get Rates. It's going through all 96 suppliers and putting all of the best rates at the top in an ascending order. Now, if we know how much the customer is currently paying for their electric, say it was 11 cents, you can hit requote just to update the platform just so that you can see what their savings will look like. Now, unless they're in an apartment and they've only got 6 months left on their lease and they plan to be moving, I probably would avoid these teaser rates right here and probably go a little more on a 12-month for a renter and maybe 24-month on a homeowner. Obviously, if we're doing 24 months versus 12 months, we're going to get paid for 24 versus 12 months. But in either case, whether a customer does this or you or I, they just simply click sign up, enter in their information. In this case, Illinois request an account number. States like Texas don't, but it's real simple. It's right there at the top of their bill.
Oh, wow. So it actually shows where on the bill for the company where they can find the account number. That's beautiful. That's something I would think of
Yeah,
to
so
ask.
put in their account number, put in their name, street address. If for some reason that bill is going to a PO box, you got a place to put that. And then obviously their phone number, email address, and this is going to be a simple switch. When we click next, it's going to go to a verification page, which is going to let you check off a couple of boxes and read everything and check the spelling of everything that you've already entered, especially today with so many smart devices that have autocorrect. And I don't know how many times I've sent my wife a text, back at it, and it's nothing what I said.
Oh, yeah. Probably every day.
So you want to make sure that everything is good. It is. So you go ahead and submit it to complete the order. And so if a customer is doing this on their own, it's going to let them move through this process rather seamlessly. If you or I are doing it, our system is going to recognize that the IP address for your computer or my computer does not belong to this street address.
Okay.
And so while we still have the customer on the phone, if we're filling this out on behalf of the customer, once we hit submit, all we need to do is just tell the customer to open up their email. Our system sent them a verification link. Once they click on that link, if they would read back the response, kind of takes the onus off of why am I clicking the link and paying more attention to the response. But once they click the link, then the system is going to recognize that that device is registered or billed to the address on the
IP address
on the account. So
okay.
that just keeps any rogue salesman from grabbing a phone book and signing everybody up in town without their permission.
Of course.
So again, whether you are doing this or a customer comes onto the website and they're doing this all on their own, they can certainly move through this process rather seamlessly. And of course, any customer coming in, even if they're small business or large commercial, they can do that as well as with natural gas. But for you and I, we have a lot more tricks up our sleeve, bells and whistles and things that we can do. So when we do our commercial stuff, we'll do it from the back of the platform. So I'm going to jump over there now. And so right here is the main dashboard. And the first thing that you're going to see in this upper area is anything that you do residential wise through the front of the platform is going to show up back here.
Okay.
So right here where you see this says pending, that customer has not clicked on their email link to verify the order.
Okay.
I just actually spoke to the agent about that, and so I know why. If you'll notice here, it says no email at TruPowur.net.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you remember, you had the place to put in their phone number, cell phone number, and their email. If it's an older couple and
Mm-hmm.
don't have email, when you put in no email at TruPowur.net in the email address, instead of sending the email, it'll send a text to their cell phone.
Oh, wow.
So all they need to do is click the link in there on their cell phone, and it'll change this from pending to quote. And so it's not really a quote like you think a quote, it's more of a waiting state.
Mm-hmm.
So once it's in a quote status, it'll stay there for 3 to 10 days while the service is being transferred over to the new supplier.
Okay.
Once the service has been transferred over to the new supplier, then it will read confirmed, and now it's a commissionable event.
Okay.
So that makes sense?
Yes.
So the average homeowner uses about 20,000 kWh annually. When we talk about usage, we always talk about usage in the annual respect.
Okay.
Down below is where you're going to find a lot of your renewals. As you start to do more contracts, you're going to obviously have customers that are going to need to renew their contracts, and so they'll show up down here. And so you can kind of see the size of the deals based on kWh. You know how much electricity they use annually.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that our wheelhouse is typically between about 500,000 kWh to about 5 million, represent about 90-95% of most of our business.
Okay.
And so commission wise at 5 mils, which I'll show you a little more about that in a moment, but at 500,000 on 5 mils is going to be about a $2,500 commission. 5 million kWh at 5 mils is going to be about $25,000 commission. Now, you'll expect to obviously get and maintain some of these larger accounts that are going to be 10, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 million kWh. Probably not as much as you would like, but I would expect to get a couple a quarter anyway, just depending on what size they are. So if you were to take and look at this customer right here, for example, if you took 35 million times 5 mils, which is a half a penny, then the commission on that would be $175,000. Now, this customer always does 5-year contracts. So when I renew them for a 5-year contract, we'll get 12 months up front, which is going to be, $175,000 upfront commission. And then there'll be $175,000 for every year of that contract. So going into year 2, 3, 4, and 5, it'll be paid out on a monthly basis rather than a lump sum at the beginning of each, contract year. So 175,000 divided by 12 is roughly $15,000 a month for the next 4 more years. So that wouldn't hurt your feelings any, would it?
Wait, so now you are speaking plain English, and I'm not used to commissions of this size when I'm hearing commission payouts.
Okay.
So when you say 175,000 commission payout, that's
Right.
payable to the agent, or a percentage of that is payable to the agent?
Well, if you are at 70%, then
Okay.
obviously you're going to be at 70 of that, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Wow.
we always talk about whole numbers and annual. So let's just say 175,000 times 0.7 would be 122,000. So
Wow.
that's still a pretty decent amount divided by 12. So you'd be making, $10,000-$11,000 a month,
From one deal.
for the next 4 more years. So
Okay.
not bad.
This is amazing.
And that's at 5 mils. So, I mean, I'm going to show you how you actually have control over that, where you can raise and lower that how you see fit. But at any rate, that is just kind of give you kind of a good cross section of what you would expect to see in a, you know, the typical deals out there. So what I'm going to do now is actually go up here and show you how we enter in a commercial customer.
And I'm sorry, another question about the commission. So you guys have advanced commission, I guess, based on the contract signed, for however long the contract signed, and you guys have whatever equation, and the agent gets a payout on the advanced commission based on the contract signed, and then on month 13 the residual start.
Correct.
Jesus Christ, that's
You're,
crazy.
you're absolutely correct. You're the first person that has ever told me, and I usually use that term on the 13th month. So I'm glad you're grasping it.
That is insane. Yeah, you guys, and you. So I mean, I'm sorry. I've been following the deregulation for a while, and like I said, I've never hopped on it because I've never found a platform that I feel like will leverage all the different companies to choose from. It's always been Zoom, or
Yeah.
you got to pick one or two clients or companies to choose from. Like you said, it's never been a full suite to choose from as an agent.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that was the frustration that I had for a lot of years, and that's why, this was developed to really afford us the ability to do so much more with more. And I'm going to show you how we use all of those suppliers to obtain those contracts. So,
okay.
um, from the front, we're doing our residential stuff, but unless a customer comes and does it on their own for commercial, when you and I do a commercial customer, we're going to come in through the back office. And so first line of attack, if you will, is when you talk to a commercial customer is, when does your contract expire?
Okay.
As long as it's within that 2-year window, we're golden.
Okay.
And then the second thing is to get a copy of the electric bill.
Okay.
Once we have a copy of the electric bill, we can come in here. We don't need to be on the phone. We don't need to be on the spot when we do this, and we can take our time and do it correctly. So you'll go up here and enter a new customer. So when you click on that button, it is going to open up a page like this,
Hmm.
which allows us to select the commodity, electricity, and let's say that this customer's contract actually expires exactly in 2 years. And they are, I don't know, in Houston. And let's say they use 878,000 kWh, and we hit submit. So once you hit submit from here, it is going to take you to this page. And of course, you got the electric bill. So all you're doing is just uh, moving stuff off the electric bill and inputting it into the back
The phone
office.
bill. Hmm.
So you're looking at the electric bill and you just say, okay, what's the name of the company? However it's spelled on the electric bill, do it exactly that way, even if it's misspelled on the electric bill
Hmm.
or abbreviated or whatever, just exactly however the company name is. And then, of course, whoever the decision maker's name, first, last name, their title, the address where the electric is being serviced, if the bill is going to an offsite accountant or PO box, or maybe it goes to a corporate address somewhere else. You got a place to put that in there. Phone numbers, email. Do you speak Spanish?
Oh,
Then you won't have to worry about that button. And then, of course, the ESID number, which is earlier, if you remember when we were looking at the residential
hmm,
in Illinois, it said account number. If we would put in like an Ohio number, it would have said customer number. So this field is always going to uh, ask for whatever is going to be on the bill. In Texas, we call the meter numbers ESIDs. In Illinois, that'll be account number. Ohio's customer number and so on and so forth. So
Okay.
all we do is just from the top of the bill, put in the account number or the ESID. It's going to be 22 digits long, starting with 10089. And obviously, this is going to be a future start because their current contract expires in 2 years. So their expiration date is going to be our new start date. So if we get paid up front for the first 12 months, that means that 13th month is 3 years away from today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So always got to be conscious of that.
So even if a client, this is, I may have missed this, but if a client's contract ends in 2 years, within the eligibility for us to transfer them, we can still write that deal even though they're on a contract that doesn't
Yeah,
expire for
our
two
new
years.
contract is not going to start until their old one ends.
So we write the deal, but and then we'll get paid on it. Obviously, we can't get paid on it before it starts.
No, we'll get paid the first up front now.
Before they even take the services?
Yeah, because we got a contract.
Are you serious?
So, contracts are serious. It's not like residential where people pay $50 and, you know, break their contracts. In commercial, it's uh, yeah, a serious deal. You look at, a customer that spends, say 35 million kWh annually, and let's say they were, their rate was at 4 cents. That's roughly about 1.4 million a year times 5 years. That's about $7 million. You can bet that the penalty uh,
Mm,
for breaking that contract is probably going to be somewhere in the range of about 3 to 4 million. So
okay.
it just doesn't happen, but that's good
Of
uh,
course. I mean, it's great for, I
for
mean,
us.
being the sales. I mean, wow, that's amazing.
So this is obviously going to be a future start, and then whoever the current, you know, supplier is right now, and we'll attach a copy of the electric bill right here because we'll have it in a PDF or what have you.
Okay.
And if there's more than one meter number on the bill, just go ahead and click yes and then hit submit. When you hit submit, it's going to take you to a page like this. So here's all the information that we just entered on the customer. Your information will be on the right and a little about the electric over here on the left. Now down below is where you would add those extra meters. So each time you need to add an extra meter, just go right here and add another location.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of these meters obviously is read separately, all totaled up equal 878,000 kWh annually. So now we're ready to price it. We're still not on the phone with the customer. We're
Mm-hmm.
still just putting this information in. So we'll go right up here where it says view today's rates. And by the way, our rates are typically going to be about 1 to 3 cents cheaper than all of our competitors because we don't have to mark it up.
Mm,
So we're going to see this on the fly at the market, whatever the
mm.
market is right now. So we'll click Get Rates. And here is where you're going to see where it says Set Your Mills. Now that's how we set our commissions.
Okay.
So, and from here, you can go all the way to zero. If you don't want to make any money, set it to zero, and we're happy to do that. Of course,
Okay.
if you make none, then we make none. So I've never
Right.
seen anybody do it, but there you go. And as high as 15 mils. So 1 mil is a tenth of a penny.
Mm.
10 mils is a penny.
Mm-hmm.
So if 10 mils was a penny, how much is 15 mils?
Penny and a half.
There you go. So 5 mils would be
5 pennies.
half
5 cents.
half a
Oh,
penny.
wait, we went up to point. Okay, I'm sorry. Went from points. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that would
Okay.
be a half a penny, right?
Correct.
So the only thing that I would tell you is in 11 years, I have never charged a customer 10 mils or more. However,
Okay.
there are some suppliers that cap out at 10. Some suppliers only pay you 50% of anything above 10. And a little bit later, I'll show you where you can go find out where you can get away with murder if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, more importantly, I would say that a pretty good range is typically going to be somewhere between 3 to 7 mils. So, for
And
example,
and the mil is what you're multiplying by the kilowatt usage, right?
correct. So
Okay.
if we set it at 3 mils to figure out our commission, we would take 878,000 times 0.003. That would be about $2,600.
Hmm.
So if we wanted to charge 5 mils, we would take 878,000 times 0.005, and that would be about $4,400. And in my last example, 7 mils, 878,000 times 0.007 is going to be about $6,200. So,
How does the meals affect what the customer pay?
well, this is, a mil, so there's going to be a tenth of a cent difference.
Mm,
Not a lot, but it's
gotcha.
going to have a little bit of a bearing on it. So
Okay.
maybe if you have somebody that's got a really, really smoking good rate already to start with,
Okay.
maybe you need to stay at 3 mils or 2 mils or whatever. I mean, I'd rather make something
Mm-hmm.
than 100% of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So once you decide what you're going to do, set your mills, go over here. If you know how much the customer is currently paying, and you do because you got their electric bill, go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and put that in there and then hit search to update the pricing platform. When you come down, you're going to notice that obviously commercial rates are far lower than
Mm-hmm.
residential rates. So
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I typically do is I look for the longest term contract I can get my hands on. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the lowest rate is 4.8, but that's only for a 6-month contract, and that's kind of a teaser. So what I typically do is go over here to where it says savings, and now it's going to put the best deal at the top. So
Mm-hmm.
we lower their rate from 7 cents to 5.4, and we're going to save them $41,000, and we can guarantee or protect that rate for the next 36 months or 3 years. Customer says, that sounds great, let's do it. All you got to do is click the sign up button. Our platform, you don't have to figure out how to fill out contracts. Our platform is going to pull the contract for A, P, G, and E for that particular state, fill it out for you, and send it to the customer in the form of a DocuSign faster than you can tell them what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of handy, right?
That,
So
say the least.
let's say you wanted to send this to the customer. So from everything from here down without the sign up buttons, just as a static snapshot, just like as if you just took a picture.
Mm-hmm.
You go up here where it says email these 9 plans, put their name, email, and put some note in there. I usually like to put something that builds urgency, like give me a call back before 5 o'clock. I can't hold these prices
Mm-hmm.
through tomorrow. We're expecting the rates to continue to go up, so get back to me as soon as possible. So you want to build a little urgency,
Mm-hmm.
because in their head they're like, look, I've got 2 years to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
But for you and I, we want to get it done today.
Mm-hmm.
So we always want to build that urgency. But let's say you do have a customer that says, hey, look, I'm in the middle of a big closing, or I'm doing my taxes, or whatever their excuse is. Send me something. I'll take a look at it, but I'm not even going to have time to look at it until next week. But send something over. Well, wouldn't make sense to send that, would it?
Right.
Because it probably wouldn't be any good anyway when he did look at it. So
Right.
uh, we just added this button right here about 3 weeks ago, which I'm really proud and excited about. So when you click this link, it's going to ask you to confirm whatever mills you're going to set it to, and then hit send. So when the customer opens his email, it's going to pull up the page just like this from here down with the sign up buttons, everything that you see right here, except that every time he opens that email,
It's going to
it's
show the
going to
updated.
automatically update everything on here based on whatever the market is at that moment.
Wow.
Whether he opens it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. And it's always going to be tied back to your pipeline, and it's always going to be tied back to his information in the system. So if he looks at it and goes, man, I need to move on this, this thing keeps going up, and he sign up, it puts the contract together and emails it to him.
This is unbelievable.
So now the last thing is, maybe you need to send a report to him to kind of really get him over that hump. So we'll go over here and we'll generate a proposal. Now, when you have the electric bill, you're going to obviously know that a company's monthly usage is not going to be exactly the same every month. It's typically going to be higher in the summer and lower in the winter, right? Right now, it's just taking 878,000 and dividing it by 12 to give you a starting point. But if you have the electric bill, you would want to update all of these to reflect what each month actually was. But I'm not going to do it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. And from here, it's going to create a PDF that you can send to the customer, which will break down all of the different contract links and show you exactly the annual savings and the percentage of savings. So you can see right here that, you know, this one's saving the customer almost 23%. That's huge.
For sure.
And saving them $42,000, I think that's a cool deal. But, you know, there is this one right here, and it does show 31% savings, but it's only a 6-month deal. Do we really want to go there? Nah, I want to keep this customer minimally 36, maybe 24. So maybe I want this one, and this one. So let's just go ahead and close this, close that, go up here and open the advanced search. Let's take away the 6, the 12.
Oh, that's good.
And generate, and then of course, you know, we'll go ahead and just pretend that this one was 50,000, and let's say August was 100,000, and I'm not going to do all of them. I'll just show you those two. And we hit generate. So now it's going to create the proposal that we can send to the customer. So now they're only going to see what we want them to see. So we know that he's going to pick one of these three, right?
Right.
And so, you know, he's probably going to pick this one because it's got the most savings, and it's the highest percentage of savings. So it's also going to give them a little historical data as to where the market has been. And then, of course, if we were to actually update all of this, it would show him what his monthly supply spending and monthly total spending would look like based on his past performance and usage. So that's a nice thing that you can email to the customer to help you close those deals. So that is all done right there. So any questions about how to set the bills, using any of the reports, understanding the pricing structure?
I mean, it's obviously a lot to take in, but I do have a grasp of it. You know, if I were to do it a few times.
Fill out name, address, phone number, email, you pretty much got it down, right?
Yeah, I mean, just the navigation, just the buttons and going back and forth. But I mean, this is easy as it gets.
Yeah. So now that was, we got there by going right here and clicking view today's rates, right?
Right.
But I said we had some extra tools up our sleeve. So any customer that has over 500,000 kWh, we have something else that our competitors would love to have their hands on, and that is our reverse auction tool. So are you familiar with how a reverse auction works?
No.
Okay. Have you ever bought anything on eBay?
Yes.
Okay. So you know that when you buy something on eBay, you bid $1 and I come in bid 2, and then it lets you know that you've just been outbid. So you come back and put 3 and I put 4, and the winner usually is either the person with the most money, the least amount of common sense, or runs out of time, right?
Right.
And so a reverse auction is the same thing, but only in reverse. So any customer that we have that has over a 500,000 kWh, which this one does, qualifies for our auction platform. So we'll go up here to request prices. We'll go down to the bottom. We'll click invite the customer. And now when we submit this off, two things are going to happen. An email is going to go to the customer, letting them know that we're preparing bids for them. And it's going to also give them an observatory link, which allows them to come back and watch everything in real time, full transparency. They can see everything that's going on. Might be a little boring because it's also going to notify all the suppliers that we have a customer with 878,000 kWh, which they're all going to want. And the platform is going to give each supplier 3 days, 3 bids, and 3 counter bids to come in and try and outbid each other, driving the price lower and lower and lower, which is good for the customer, good for us, and good to use all of the suppliers so that we can maintain that many suppliers. And so in turn, if we're getting rates that are 1 to 3 cents cheaper in our matrix pricing, our auction platform typically will add an additional 0.5 cent to maybe 1.5 pennies less below matrix. So that's a huge, huge advantage that you got over any competitor if there's not already enough already. But like everything else, you have control. So if you think that for some reason 3 days is not good enough and you think that 4 or 5 would be better for whatever reason, you have the ability to do that. You also have the ability to say, okay, I want to get 3 bids. You're going to set your commission to whatever that is. And then you're going to go in here and you're going to say, look, I don't want all kinds of crazy bids. I only want to see bids for 60-month contracts, and I only want to see bids for 48-month contracts. Perfect. So as those things come in, all those suppliers are going to start coming in and placing bids. Why? Because having a customer with 878,000 kWh would be like you walking into a parking lot full of banks with $1 million over your head and say, I'll put this money in your bank for 5 years. Who's going to give me the best deal?
Best interest rate. Yep.
So same thing. It's a customer is like a CD policy. So that's a huge benefit that you have by being able to give them, that reverse auction. So, the common question or statement you get when you talk to, sometimes, when you talk to a commercial customer the first time, they're like, oh, we have somebody that handles that for us. I usually commend them on what a smart decision they made on getting somebody to actually go out and handle that kind of thing for them, because it can be complicated and it can be time consuming. Let me ask you something though, if I could be a little bit forward. Do you trust them, and why? Well, I'm not sure what you mean. Well, our company used to operate just like all of the other brokerages in America. And typically what ends up happening is you're at 7 cents and the customer or the broker, calls up a supplier and says, hey, what's the best rate you'll give me? And the supplier says, well, we'll do 5 cents. So now the broker calls you back and says, hey, Bob, I had to pull some strings, but I was able to lower your rate. And I think we did a pretty good job. I think, we lowered it from 7 to 5.9. Is that what the REP said? No, they said 5 cents. So did he lower your rate? Yeah. Are you happy? Probably. You don't know any better. But was he fully transparent? Was he honest? No. In our system, everything that we do is upfront. If that REP says you're going to get it for 3.9, that's exactly what you're going to get. So we have full transparency. If you really like this person as much as you think you do, give me his name and contact information. I'll get him to come work with us, and he can still work with you, but he'll actually be able to offer you far better services.
I love it.
So what do you say about that? So any questions about the two different ways of pricing?
No.
Okay. So I want to jump over to this neck of the woods. Over here where you see it says market data analytics.
Okay.
And so if you click on that, it is going to pull up our market data analytics. And so let's say we want to look at electricity and I don't know, let's see what's happening in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So we'll pick New Jersey, select Atlantic City. And, you know, if you wanted to take a look at what the market has done for the past 2 years, let's go ahead and get statistics. And so right here, you're going to be able to actually see what the market has been doing for the past 2 years. So how do you think you could use this to help you sell?
I mean, I could know what the trend will be. So, let's say a contract's ending or starting a new contract, I could kind of give them a heads up what's going to happen. So, I could hopefully get them to beat the trend. So, like in January 18, if I could have had somebody on the contract to miss that spike, then I could have obviously saved them some money.
Yeah, so, well, let me ask you, how important would it be if you could predict the future?
I mean, that that goes without saying. I mean,
So let's move the needle ahead a year and see what happens. So here's what you're looking at. We're looking at 2 years worth of historical data. And because of our relationship with all of the suppliers and utilities, Atlantic City, based on a lot of different variables, is sharing with us where the market is going to be for the next year. So if I've got a customer that I really wanted to help, and I knew that their contract expired, let's say, I don't know, September, October of 2019, I would probably let them know and not be greedy and try and switch them right now. I'd say, look, you know, most people, probably brokers, would not tell you this, but the market has been moving up. It's going to continue to move up through January, February. Now is not the best time to, look at renewing the contracts. What I do as a service to my customers is I monitor the market, and I know that come sometime going into March, April, May, that the markets are going to actually be at the bottom, and that's going to be the best opportunity
it's time to renew.
to renew those customers. And so most people are not used to being told not to buy, or not, they're not used to not being sold. So do you think this customer is going to appreciate that?
Well, of course. I mean, if they have
And
any
if you
sense.
and if you send this to him as documentation, and you follow up with him and then get him here to renew his contract,
He'll never leave. He'll never
you'll be
leave.
a customer for life. So sometimes you don't want to be greedy, right?
Okay.
So, but that was Atlantic City. Not all markets are equal. So if you look at my neck of the woods, say in Encore, um, and we get statistics, different animal. So right now is a good time. Or let's take a look at Houston. So right now is the best time to renew the contracts, especially if their contract expires in July or August. If their contract expires in August, he goes, we usually just wait until about a month before our expiration to renew our contract. That's going to be July, right here. Is that going to be smart?
No.
Best thing to do is renew it right now, and renew it for 5 years, and just protect yourself as much as possible. I mean, look, can you buy a home today what you could buy a home in 1960? So anything and everything goes up in value over time. And so, we want to be able to protect you for as long as possible, but we also want to be smart about it. and get in at the right opportunities. And that's one of the things that we do as a company, is being able to market or monitor those things and be able to work in those markets when those markets are at their best opportunity. So, you know, I've got a lot of states right now, Mr. Buyer, that right now is not a good time. But here in Texas, it's the perfect time. So
Mm-hmm.
anyways, you've got these tools at your disposal. You also, this is going to be looking at the commodities market based out of, you know, the Chicago Mercantile and Exchange, because all of your utility companies, they hedge all of their markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're wanting to see what the retail market looks like against that, you can also see what the retail market is looking like as the matrix. So you kind of get an idea how the market's moving. So you do have all of these tools for not only electric, but as natural gas as well. And you can do these graphs and charts around the clock. You can do them hour by hour. You can do them peak hours, off peak hours, and peak versus peak. So you can play with these as much as you like and really kind of narrow it down, you know. So I might not want to give all of this data to a customer. Maybe I want to just give them a little segment of it. So maybe I'll turn that into 18 and put October in there, you know. And then when I get statistics, I'm going to be looking at a little bit less information. So I'm going to,
Mm-hmm.
so now when I'm sending it to him, he's going to be like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
let them see what you need to see.
Right.
So even this right here, that's like November 27th. Anyways, you get the idea.
Wow.
Any questions about this area?
No.
Okay. Up here in the upper right-hand corner where you see that little menu hamburger,
Uh-huh.
if we click contracts, that's just going to take us back to the main dashboard.
Mm.
Over here under education, it's going to bring you to an area where I've just now updated all of the videos that kind of help you through, you know. So if you need, you know, a little assistance walking you through an auction or anything that you just need a little refresher course on, I've got some additional videos in there to help you with that, along with sample bills. So no matter what, you know, customer you're talking to, you can always take and pull open a bill so you can kind of see what they're looking at, especially since it'll make it a little easier
Mm-hmm.
to tell the customer what you're looking for. And then, of course, we've got some manuals, territory maps. These are just more curiosity things. Under the marketing tab is where we house all of our contracts. So again, if you know, you don't have to learn how to fill out contracts, and unless you actually went here, you would never see a contract. So you know, customers may say, what does paragraph 3 mean? So you can go over here and go, okay, well, that was with A and P out of New Jersey. So I'll click that open and go, okay, paragraph 3, renewal of the agreement. So you can look at it and at least know what they're looking at. And so again, you don't have to worry about filling all of this stuff out. The platform will automatically do it for you. Convert it to a PDF, send it to the customer in the form of a DocuSign. If you've ever used DocuSign, you know it automatically puts you wherever you need to be. They type in their name and hit enter, and now it's going to put their signature in all of the correct places and send it back to us signed, sealed, delivered. We're golden. So that is under marketing. Now under the reports tab, again, since you do have the ability to build a team, Under the reports tab, you want to be able to have access to all of their contact information, as well as when you look at the back dashboard. Over here, you'll see your name on all your deals. And of course, when they look at their platform, they're going to see their name. But if they're part of your team, you're going to see their deals and your deals on yours.
Okay.
You'll be getting an override of what they do. Now, commission audit is another tool that our competitors would love to have their hands on. So this is actually going to help you keep track of your commissions and forecast future earnings, meaning this. Let's take it to the nth degree. So we have a customer whose contract expires exactly 2 years from today. So we can get them a new contract, and we get them a new 5-year contract. That means that the last year of that new contract is 7 years away from today, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go in here to commission audit, this will show you how much you're going to make on a monthly basis for the next 7 years.
Wow.
So as you continually add new customers, it's obviously going to change. You're going to have contracts that have different start dates. You're going to have contracts with different end dates, big accounts, little accounts, different residuals, all kinds of stuff. And obviously, usage goes up in the summer. So since it's based off of usage, even though if you say, okay, this commission is going to average $120,000 a year, which would in essence be $10,000 a month. In the summer, it could be 10, 11, 12, $13,000 a month. In the winter, it could be, $7, 8, 9, $10,000 a month. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this will keep track of all of that. So you can imagine a year from now when you're making $20,000, $30,000 a month, and you decide you want to go buy yourself a little mini mansion, and you need to document proof of income about 7 years.
Nice.
So commission paid is obviously just where you get all your historical paid commissions. You need to do your taxes. You need to download, 12 paycheck stubs. That's where you go do it.
Okay.
Site traffic monitoring is something that we added several months back, really just kind of to aid you in being able to see where all the traffic comes from, what part of the country, what part of the state, or what utilities are they looking at, where are they coming from, and then of course if they start to fill something out and don't complete it, it will capture their data so that you can contact them and assist them in completing that order, as well as being able to see all of your traffic. You'll also be able to see the traffic of anybody that's in your team.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of nice, right?
Man, this thing is amazing. I'm speechless. I'm really big on CRMs and the intricacies of back office stuff and how things work and tie together. So
Yeah.
you guys' platform is I don't know what to say.
Earlier I said I'll show you where you can look up where you can get away with murder.
Yeah. I thought it was with the M's. I thought that was that's not what that was. Where I could.
This is
Okay.
under supply compensation structure. So, if you want to look up which suppliers, cap out at 10, or which ones will pay over 10, or whatever, that's where you go do that stuff.
Okay.
As far as contract status, quote logs, and task lists, those are all tied to the functionalities of, remember, we could send out one kind of button or a different kind of button or a quote or what have you. When we were doing that. Now, this is obviously where we entered the customer's information, but the only difference between this button and this button is this one we enter the customer's information first, then get pricing. This one we get pricing, then enter the customer's information.
Okay.
But how these correlate right here to the front of the platform is if I click on small business, see it says monthly bill is less than $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't really care about the dollar amount. We do, but we care more about the KWH. But if I were to put in here click this button if you use less than 500,000 kWh annually. People's eyes would glaze over and they wouldn't know what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So $10,000 is going to be a rough estimate at that 500,000 threshold, versus commercial is going to be over 10,000 a month, is going to be, more than 500,000 kWh annually. So
Okay.
this one qualifies for the auction, and this one is just going to be matrix pricing.
Gotcha.
So when you click this one and put in your zip code, it's going to give you pricing to look at. When you click on this one and enter in your zip code, instead of seeing pricing like you normally would, it's going to have you fill things out. You don't know any better. You go ahead and fill it out, hit submit. It's going to send you all the information, so now you can contact the customer and do the right thing by them and maybe set them up with an auction or whatever it is that we need to do to assist them in providing them the best services possible.
Okay.
So that kind of concludes the pricing platform front and back. Do you have any questions about that before I move on to the next segment?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what I'm going to do now is jump over to our call center. So here we are at the call center. And so when you log in, the first thing I tell people is go up here where it says dialer paused, click on that, and then over here, depending on what area you want, because earlier we looked at, maybe New Jersey's not a good time to be taking calls in New Jersey, so I'll get rid of those. So I usually would tell people just go in here and deselect everything and then just select what you want. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you kind of get the idea that if you go in here and say, okay, I just want to deal with Ohio commercial, then select that one. Click this button to close it out, and then you'll go up here and put yourself in ready mode. When you do, you'll see that dialer pause, the countdown, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's going to start transferring customers to me. I'm going to stop it because I'm actually on the same line that it uses to do it. So to talk to you. So from here, you've got your ready mode, go take a break, go to lunch, last call of the day, which stalls the system. At any rate, what ends up happening is it's going to take customers out of our general database and transfer them to you. When they transfer them to you, it goes into your database, which means you're the only agent or you're the only person that is ever going to talk to that customer ever again unless you transfer it to somebody else or kill it. So if we were doing residential, and you're not going to hear a dial tone, you're not going to hear a ringing, you're going to hear a beep, and then you're live. So as soon as you hear that beep, you want to say good morning, good afternoon. My name is Matt Fox with TruPowur, calling on behalf of the State Energy Choice Program. You see this 75002? I can already, while I'm introducing myself, go ahead and put that in there and hit get rates, right? And so I'm calling on behalf of the State Energy Choice Program. It looks like there's some additional discounts in your area, blah, 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 blah. Give me a couple minutes. Do you know what you're currently paying for your electricity? Most people give you a dollar amount and they don't know. If they don't know, just put in 11. Right now it is averaging about 12.5 cents, but so you'll be a little more under promise and over deliver rather than the other way around. So now you're talking to them, say, hey, looks like you do qualify for some additional discounts. And it looks like we can save you about $50, $55 a month at 8.1 with Frontier. And I can protect that rate for up to 12 months. There's no fees to enroll with this discounted rate. You will continue to receive the same services from your utility company. They'll still deliver your energy, read your meters, provide you with the emergency services, just as they do now. That will never change. So right here it goes into, are you the person of record? Yes, I am. Can you spell your first and last name? See how I'm going through it? So it's a pretty simple one call close. when you're talking to a residential customer.
Hmm.
Obviously, you have call result buttons over here that you can use.
Hmm.
You've got a place right here where you can take and put notes about your conversation if needs be. Here you've got a street view so you can actually see the customer that you're talking to.
Wow.
And so that's kind of nice. And this is actually, do you know how old are you?
39.
39. Do you know, have you ever heard of the TV show Dallas
Yes. Hmm.
with JR
Yes. Hmm.
at South Fork? Well, this is South Fork.
Oh, wow.
That's the house at South Fork. We were by the pool. This is actually the museum right here, but this was the house on the TV show. And I live just off of Parker, right down the street here by Spring Creek. So right here.
This is cool.
So that's my house. So
Nice.
we're on 6.5 acres with 52 pecan trees. So that's kind of nice. Anyway, so you've got a place where you can see the street view. And then, you've got obviously the customer information over here and a place to log information in your discussion so that you can go back and, use it to transpose that information into the pricing platform as you need to, maybe a little bit later.
Okay.
If you need to call them back in a day, then double anything that you click over here requires 2 clicks to actually make it do it. So,
Okay.
if you need to call them back, double click, call back in a day, and you're off to the next call and it'll bring it back tomorrow. If you know, have any of these, I mean, most of these are pretty
Yeah.
self-explanatory.
Yeah. I see that.
So on the other side, if you get a commercial customer, similarly, you still have the call result buttons. The script is a lot different because our main attack, other than our introduction, is to find out when their contract expires. If
Hmm.
it's 3 years out, what would you do?
Um, 3 years. We could say. I think we said only 2 years as far as we could go, right?
Yeah, so what would you do if they said it was December of 2021?
I guess do a callback, or I mean,
Yeah, so go right over here to
do a
appointment,
callback. I just thought of something. Would you be able to?
go over
Would I be?
here,
Would I be able
move
to
this.
send them the contract thing that you said that could show them the rates?
No, why? You can't do anything with them. Go over
Okay.
here, get appointment, move ahead, a year. So
Okay.
this is going to put them at that 2-year mark. Go ahead and set the date. I probably am going to ask at least 3 more questions just so I'll get that information now. I'm not going to ask for a copy of the electric bill. I don't need it. It'll be a year old when I'm doing this. So at this point, I'm just going to thank them for their time because I'm talking to the gal in accounts receivable. I'll get my report together. Do you mind if I include you in on the email when I send that to the owner? Not a problem. Okay, great. Thanks. Goodbye. And that's where I leave it. And they're not going to remember. In a year from now,
Right.
it'll bring it back and I will already have most of everything I need other than a fresh copy of the electric bill.
Okay.
So, obviously whoever answers the phone is typically going to be a gatekeeper or a
Right.
receptionist. Can you transfer me over to accounts receivable? They transfer you over and let's say you get their voicemail. Whether you get a voicemail or an answering machine with a residential, any kind of device like that, the very second that you know that it is a machine or a voicemail, go over here to where it says leave a message, double click that button and you're off to the next call. It will wait for the beep and then leave a message to the effect of, hi, my name is Sarah. I'm the personal assistant for Matt Fox. We're calling today and the dialogue is obviously designed to get them to call you back.
Hmm.
If you don't want Sarah's voice on there, we'll give you the script and you can record it in your voice minus my name is Sarah.
Okay.
And so similarly, outside of any time you click on any one of these buttons once, it will show you what it's going to do down below. And the second time will actually make it do what it's going to do. So double clicking executes it. One click actually shows you what it's going to do. So If you look at leave a message, it's going to schedule a call back in 3 days. But like everything else where you have control, if you want to make that different, you certainly can there. And if you're quick, you can also, if there's an email over here, and there is, and if you're quick, you can drop this down to leave a message email and then go click that the second time. Not only will it leave a voice message for you, then it will also send an email letting them know that I called earlier today, got your voicemail, left a message, don't know if you got it yet, but give me a call back as soon as possible. So it will also send an email with all of your credentials
Okay.
and signature. So pretty handy. Obviously, these are, pretty simple functionality tools. Let's say that you click call back in 3 days and you're off to the next call and you go, oh my gosh, I forgot to put in a note. Go over here, put yourself in last call, go to the call log. You're going to see the last call that you made, which is right here. You can click that and it'll bring that customer back. You can go ahead and put in any notes or update whatever you want. Also, something else that you can do with the call logs is that you can play back any calls so that you can get a good idea of how you sound.
Okay.
So you heard that beep?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, we are not available.
That's that sound.
Okay.
So
Hello.
So a lot of times all the calls are recorded. So a lot of times if I'm talking to somebody and maybe they talk fast or they got a thick accent and I've already asked them to repeat themselves twice, giving me their email address, I'll just wait until after the call and play it and listen to it and get it done rather than keep asking them over and over and over. Because that's annoying, right? So anyways, you've got that ability there. Last thing that I want to point out is on the residential. And this is kind of a cool thing. Now, this past July was our 11th anniversary, and so we wanted to do something special for our customers and our agents. So we came up with this gift card idea, and so here it is. So when you're finishing up with the residential customer, you're getting down to where you ask them to open their email, click the verification link, and they read back the response, and you say, great, you'll be receiving a welcome email, a complete copy of your discounted enrollment containing all of the terms and conditions of service. There's nothing further that you need to do. It'll take about 3 to 10 days for the services to be transferred over to the new discounted rate and supplier. Oh, by the way, as our way of saying thanks, TruPowur will be sending you a $200 gift card after your 3rd month of billing. Now that's nice, isn't it? Do you think that would help you close some more deals?
For sure.
You will also be receiving a special referral link that you can share with friends, family, and neighbors. And
Wait, Matt, I'm sorry, Matt, you guys do all this and pay advance commission?
Yeah.
All this is in one system?
Yes.
All right, this is like I've been around call centers, like I've like sales and call centers and CRMs and leads and callbacks and cold calling, and I'm seeing all this in one package is amazing. I'm sorry, it's a lot.
Well, it's still a lot of work, but you got to do the
work is the easy part. I mean, you got to work regardless.
Yeah.
Work is the easy part.
So when any 2 of those referrals become customers before the 3rd month of billing, when your $200 gift card is mailed to you, TruPowur will do what?
So if they give me referrals, they'll get a $2,000 gift card if they sign up before 3 months. Wow.
So tell me what happens here.
I mean, your customer's going to be excited. Number one, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of
As a
referrals.
customer, they're going to get a $200 gift card, but if they would like to use the special referral link that we send to them, and whose pipeline is that connected to?
Mine.
Yours. And they share that with friends, family, and neighbors. And when any two of those referrals become customers before the third month of billing, when their $200 gift card is mailed out to them, then we will upgrade their $200 gift card to a $2,000 gift card. Now, do you think they're going to be motivated to go get you two customers?
This is crazy, man.
Maybe.
100%, sir. 100%.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So you went and got one customer, but now you're going to get paid on three.
Wow.
So please understand that this is not a requirement, but just our way of rewarding valued customers for sharing the State Energy Choice Program with friends and family. So let me kind of explain to you a little bit about how you can actually make some additional money from that. So if you are a sales rep, that's what this qualified extra new account bonus is for. So if you go and get a customer and they get a $200 gift card, in 3 months, when they get that gift card, they activate it and use it, you're going to get a $100 bonus.
Wow.
Now, if that customer goes and gets two customers, that's a total of 3 customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would, over here as a sales rep, you're going to get $100 for each one of those. So now you're going to get $300, right?
Okay.
If those two go get 2, that's a total of 7. So over here, you're going to get $700 bonus on top of what you made on the 7 customers getting them.
Mm.
But as an agent, this is going to be a lot different. So if that one customer goes and gets 2 customers, it gets 2 customers. That's a total of 7 customers. Here, this will make sense a little easier this way. So this is our gift card bonus plan for residential customers. So you got the $200 gift card and the $2,000 gift card. The $200 gift card, they get, after their 3rd month of billing.
Mm-hmm.
We also provide them with a referral link to invite friends, families, neighbors. Heck, they can send it to their enemies. I don't care. Take advantage. And of course, they can take advantage of the same offer. When any 2 of those referrals become customers before the 3rd month of billing, we upgrade their $200 gift card to a $2,000 gift card. We also give each new customer a referral link to invite friends and family, neighbors to upgrade their $200 gift card to a $2,000.
Oh, man.
So here you are, and you got a customer. When you obtain a new customer, they'll be mailed a $200 gift card after their 3rd month of billing. And when that customer activates and uses their gift card, you'll receive a $100 bonus. Now, let's assume that customer goes out and gets 2 referrals that become customers prior to the $200 gift card being mailed out. TruPowur will upgrade their $200 gift card to a $2,000 gift card. The 2 new customers will also receive a $200 gift card with the same offer to upgrade their gift cards. As an agent, you're going to receive $1,000 off of the $200 $2,000 gift card, and $100 off of each $200 gift card. Does that make sense?
Yes.
As a sales rep, you only get $100 off of each one. So as a sales rep, you get a $300 bonus. As an agent, you're going to get a $1,200 bonus. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So if that one customer, one of those goes out and gets 2, basically the same thing.
Yeah, you guys will keep paying if they keep doing it?
And so if that customer goes and gets 2, as an agent, your bonus is $2,300. As a sales rep, it's $400. If it goes and gets just 1 more, then that's $2,400 or $500. And the last example is if those 2 go get 2, that's a total of 7 customers, right? Sales rep is going to make $700 bonus. And as an agent, you made $3,400. And I can just keep going forever if you want to. I mean, I don't care. So that is
You
kind
guys
of,
track all that through the links they send, so I'm sure that's in the back office somewhere to track somewhere.
oh yeah, as soon as they get the customer, it's automatically tied to your system. You'll see them pop up right
Oh man,
in
this is
here.
crazy.
So that's that kind of concludes our operation. Any questions?
Yeah, I need to be the agent. And then how does it work? How does it work for me building my own